Part 2 of Who Did My Best Friend Almost Marry and Have a Baby With? Where we left on part 1, Haley had just found Melanie on Facebook using only her first name, a true FBI agent. So she finds her, and lo and behold, the profile picture on her profile is of her and Craig. And they're looking really cozy. They're on a trip somewhere, very much looking like boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife. We don't know at this point what they are, but what they do look like is very much together. So Haley takes this information, compiles it in her head, because again, she is building a case, and she is also in denial that he could.
How I found out my boyfriend of 2 years cheated on me. I promise you, the way I found out, if you use this, you will find out if your boyfriend's cheating on you, no matter what, 100%. It's literally guaranteed. I'm not going to go over like the actual details that made me think he was cheating. I'm literally just going to go over what I did to find out if he was. So let's get into it. I called him at night and I made sure he was home. This is very important because you have to make sure they're doing something where they can like sit down and like not have any distractions. So I actually texted his mom. I was like, hey, is home? She goes, yeah. So that's when I called him. I said, I'm only calling you for 2 reasons. 1, if we're going to be broken up forever. Or 2, we're going to be broken up maybe down the road, you know, when I move back to Iowa, blah, blah. We'll figure it out. So he goes, okay, like, what's up? What's up?
No.
Yeah, hang on.
Is dinner almost ready?
Yeah, I'm just getting it out of the oven.
All right.
Give me a second.
All right.
Hope you're in the mood for fish.
Must have took a while, huh?
Yeah? Ravioli.
Really excited about it. Looks, I'm hoping it's homemade.
It is homemade. I just...
Yeah, no, continue taking it out of the oven. No, it's really...
I got you cheesecake.
Homemade cheesecake?
Get ready with me to go catch my boyfriend cheating on me. I was getting ready and I was like, oh, I might as well film this so that I don't like cry, but I want to do a story time on what the situation is. So one thing about me is I'm really close with my family, like super, super close. Yeah. And you may also know that me and my cousin Erica are like best friends. We are roommates, so there's that. And we've just always been super close. We're the same age. Well, we also have other things in common. She is going over to my boyfriend's house tonight to hook up. Oh my God, Fez from Euphoria died. Oh my God. Oh my... Oh my God, that's so awful. This is just a day of mourning. I'm now fully depressed because... Anyway. Basically, my boyfriend went on a family vacation with us to Alaska, and Erica and him got along really well. And I was really glad to see, like, my family bond really well with my boyfriend because, like, my family's not very welcoming or they're hard to, like, get really close with at first. So I was really proud of him for getting close with my cousins, a little too close apparently.
Last night, my husband of 11 years decided to throw the entire family in the trash. He cheated and he threw the family, the kids, the house, the dogs, everything in the fucking the groceries in the trash. And let me tell you how I caught him. So I went to this place with my client. It's called the Soho Spa. And it is a spa that's supposed to be like a day thing. And me and my client were going to be going. My kids were going to be in school. And being that my kids were going to be in school, well, nobody really had to watch them. And my husband could just be home relaxing. I'm on my way to the Soho Spa with my client. And an emergency happens with her life that she can no longer go to the Soho Spa with me. So in that moment, it was an emergency where I had to handle it with her. And I forgot to call my husband and tell him, like, hey, I'm no longer going to be going to the spa anymore. I'm on my way home. So I didn't give him that call. I drop off my client, I'm on my way home, but I'm still just so in my mind and thinking about her situation that I still didn't even think to call him. Like, I'll see him when I get home. I pull up to my house, not thinking of anything of it because where my mind is at. And then on top of it, I'm just like really not paying attention to the cars parked out front of my house. I have street parking. I don't have garage parking. So I just walk into my house, open the door, walk into my house, go straight upstairs to my room. And I Don't think anything of it. Open my door. There's a woman on my bed. A woman on my bed. And still at this moment, do I think that my husband is cheating on me? No, I do not. I think that
So my divorce settlement is coming to a close, so I can finally tell the story. So the last time that my ex had ever cheated on me, it was after he'd already cheated on me. He'd come back begging, like, I love you, please be with me. And I gave him another chance, stupidly. But after his initial affair with this woman, this happened like 8 months later. It was like around Christmas. So he works interstate, so we're in constant communication. But one night he was being really weird. Like, he wouldn't answer my phone calls, he wouldn't answer my messages. He kept saying he was going in and out of range. By this point, I'd already been cheated on, so I was super suspicious of him. Anyway, after a few hours of this, me trying to call him, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'll call you later, I'll call back, I'll call back. I'm like, you need to call me now, you need to message me now. And he's still not responding to me. And the idiot, this is how stupid he is. So we're a family, right? So we have all of our iPhones, all of our technology set up to the Find My iPhone system, like the family one. And I don't usually check it because I'm way too traumatized. But on this night, I'm like, no, I need answers. Like, something is not right. So I jump on Find My iPhone. He's away for work, right? So he's meant to be on site on his campsite. He's not on his campsite. He's in this little small country town that is a couple of hours away from his campsite. There is no reason that he should be in this small country town. There is nothing there. There's like a pub and there is his mistress's house. So I get this address up and I'm like, I know that you're not at work. And he's like, I am at work. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, I'm just doing a run. I have to pick up some parts. I'm like, nah, I know something's up. So I get one of my friends, one of my work friends. I'm like, call her. And we're both trying to call them at the same time. My friend's calling her, I'm calling him. And they're both hanging up at the exact same time. And at this point, I'm like, do I tell him that I've tracked him? Because then, like, that's just showing my cards. Like, he's going to turn off Find My iPhone. I won't be able to find him. But I'm like, nah, I have to tell him. I'm like, I know that you are in this place. Like, I've checked Find My iPhone. And he's like losing it. He's like, you have me under surveillance. I can't believe this. You're so insecure. I can't do.
How to tell if your boyfriend's cheating on you. I would say I'm an expert. I am more than qualified to talk about this for many reasons. So let's get right into it. The biggest sign is if he just changes and starts acting weird. Like, if you used to get a good night text every night and he like stops sending it, or he stays up way later, or just literally if anything changes, that could be a sign that he is cheating on you. Another one, this doesn't make any sense, but if he starts treating you better out of nowhere, like he changes for the better, like if he starts surprising you, if he starts sending you longer paragraphs, anything like that, he's doing that out of guilt because he knows something you don't, and he's trying to make it right, like in his own mind. Another one I said a second ago, but if he starts staying up later, there is a reason he's staying up later out of nowhere and having a harder time waking up in the morning, because he is doing something at night that he wasn't previously doing. Another can be like sudden mood changes. So if he starts snapping at you quickly, if he has a shorter temper, that could also be a reason, because like things are going on inside his mind that are stressing him out that he obviously can't talk to you about. So he's just going to take it out on you other ways than just telling you. And the biggest one is your gut feeling. Your intuition will tell you when something is wrong, and you need to listen to it and follow it. No guy is perfect, but there's a perfect guy out there for you. So don't let your boyfriend stop you from finding your husband. If you need help, DM me. Love you guys.
Something about today kind of felt off. Normally when I wake up, my husband will still be in the bed, or if he wasn't in the bed, his side of the bed wouldn't even be made up. But today his side of the bed was made up. Breakfast was made, he was in the shower, and everything was too quiet. My house is never peaceful. My husband always nagging about something, or the kids always hollering. So after about 5 minutes, I decided to get up out of the bed to kind of figure out what was wrong about today. But before I could even step up out of the bed, my husband was walking out of the restroom with a towel wrapped around him. He clutched the towel and he slowly came up to me and gave me a warm kiss. And I was just like, okay, well, you know, it kind of does feel normal. Before I could begin to even kiss him back and start to feel the moment, his phone began to ring. Now, this wasn't abnormal because it rings a lot. He's a busy man. But something about today, again, just felt off. So it stopped ringing and it ringed again. And I was just like, what the fuck? And it stopped ringing and it ringed again. So at this point, I'm a little irritated. He snatched his phone off his bed and he instantly went into the restroom. And me? Oh, I don't play like that. So I got up and went behind him. When he made it to the restroom, he instantly slammed the door. So you know me, I put my ear to the door because now I want to know what's going on. Why are we rushing? Why are we slamming doors? And why are we snatching things? As I glued my ear to the door a little bit more, I could hear him saying or whispering, Amy, not right now. I'm like, what? And then he said it again, Amy, not right now. And I could have sworn I heard another person on the other end of the phone saying, no, you're going to take time to talk to me today. So I'm instantly pissed because who are you talking to and what do you mean you're gonna make time to talk to me today? So I bust the restroom door open because what are you doing? He instantly got defensive and said I don't give him enough space and he's sick of being here. So only one thing came to my mind. He's cheating. By this time he was dressed, so he grabbed his stuff and rushed out the door. But when he opened the door, you won't believe who was standing on the other side of the fucking door.
I don't know why my life is full of events so crazy that they should only happen in movies, but I am back with another dating story time, and this is just another reminder to always trust your gut instinct because your intuition is always right. So in March this year, I met this boy at the gym that I go to, and we started seeing each other from June. And after about a month and a half of seeing each other every single weekend and twice throughout the week at the gym as well, he reassured me that we were exclusive, that he wasn't sleeping with anyone else, and that he wanted a relationship. Let me just preface that by saying he got out of an 8-year relationship last year, and so I was kind of expecting him to just be like, oh, I'm not really looking for a relationship at the moment, but he told me he was, and I believed him. Now, because I have been cheated on in the past, I am very hyper aware and a bit psychotic, so I would always go through his following just to look at the girls that he's following just to see like if I can find anything. Anyway, so there was this girl that he was following when we first started seeing each other, and after like a month or two, when I rechecked again, they weren't following each other, but I didn't really think anything of it. I eventually found out that that girl was the girl that he was seeing before me, and in September they started following each other again, which I thought was kind of weird. So I asked him if they still talk to each other. He said, yeah, sometimes, but it's platonic. We just send each other memes, check in on each other, stuff like that. So I tried to not be psychotic at this point and I just left it. 2 weeks ago, I saw 3 message notifications from this girl on his phone, and I wanted to confront him about it, but I kind of brought it up in a roundabout way at first because I wanted him to tell me. So I asked him when was the last time he spoke to her, and he told me last week. I said, like, would you show me the messages? He was like, no, it's personal. And I was like, but if you guys just send each other memes and stuff, like, how is it that personal? And he was like, well, I wouldn't want you to send like our conversation to someone else. So it was just like very sus. Anyway, I told him to unfollow and stop talking to this girl because it made me uncomfortable, to which he did. And I also said to him, you know, like, if you don't show me the messages, I'm literally never going to be able to trust you again.
You know, I like to think of myself as an equal opportunist. So let's talk about the time that I cheated. Now, I may be a little biased, but the circumstances were way different. But regardless, I'm gonna let you guys be the judge and the jury. I met my ex on season 1 of Ex on the Beach, and even though our relationship was rocky from the start, I had a lot of love for him. So much love that I gave up my entire life in New Jersey and drove all the way across the country to live with him in LA. Looking back, we definitely rushed into things, but of course, hindsight is 2020. Not to mention, he was less than honest about his finances and his living situation. But again, I was in love, so I was doing anything to make it work. And then things went from bad to worse when I got called for the challenge and he didn't. It was always his dream to be on the challenge, and everyone thought he was a front runner, and then I got cast. So he started to treat me even worse. It got so bad that I was crying myself to sleep every single night. And still, I really wanted to make it work. But the closer I got to my departure date, the worse he treated me. But it didn't hit me until a week before I was leaving that I wanted out of this relationship. But it's not like I could just pick up and leave and drive across the country. I was leaving for another show in a few days. And this is where I made my first mistake. Fun fact, when you film the challenge, you have to assign a social surrogate to take over your Instagram and any other social media accounts you may have to post as if you're still home. And if you don't assign a surrogate, you are not allowed to post anything until the last day of filming, so nobody knows when you're eliminated. So who do you think I made my surrogate? In my defense, I had very limited options. My mom didn't understand social media like that, and silly me thought I could trust the man that I was sleeping with every single night. I also gave him the password to my PayPal account to transfer funds as brands paid me. Again, very stupid on my part, but at this time I was living paycheck to paycheck, and again, he was the only person I thought I could trust. I also paid my rent 3 months in advance so he wouldn't have to pay my part while I was gone. Just all so dumb of me. Very, very dumb. But still, I had hope that we could work it out, and maybe we just needed this separation to realize.
Story time on how I found out my boyfriend was cheating on me. I had this gut feeling, and I was like, go through his phone. And I was young and I was dumb, and I was like, no, I don't want to disturb my peace. Okay. So then this one day, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. So I went through his phone when he was asleep, and I found him talking to a girl. So I woke him up, and it was like a big fight, and he was like, I'm sorry. Made every excuse, right, to apologize. And I was like, okay, I forgive you. Like, he's not going to do it again. So then a week passes by, right? A week. And I actually ended up confronting this girl, and I texted her because this girl had a man this entire time, and they were flirting. They were not just texting. So I texted her. I was like, if you know he's with me, like, why are you being messy? You have a man. And she was like, please don't get my man involved, whatever. And I was like, okay, whatever. I don't want it to be that messy. Like, after this is going to be done. So a week later, I download a texting app, and I made a fake number, and I text my boyfriend at the time. I was like, hey, and keep in mind, when I found these messages with this girl, I was studying the way she puts her emojis, because I was like, no, like, we're gonna test this out again. So I knew how she texts. The way she would put the smiley face, I was like, okay, I know how to text like her. I text my boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend now, with a fake number, and I'm like, hey, winky face, the way she put it, right? And he's like, who's this? And I was like, oh, this is so and so. And he was like, which one? I was like, what do you mean, which one? Like, how many do you know? Okay, keep in mind, that day, me and him were supposed to hang out, but he stayed home and I stayed home, but we were on the phone the whole time before bed. So I was texting him, pretending to be this other girl while we were on the phone. So I was keeping my calm, I was keeping it cool, and I was upset, and it was so hard for me to like act normal. So we're texting, and I was like, oh, this is so and so, and he's like, which one? I said this one, whatever, and he was like, oh, hey cutie, with a winky face. I was like, are you kidding me right now? Okay. So then I started texting him, and I'm like, oh, do you want to hang out? And he's like, when? I was like, right now. And he's like, right now, right now? I was like, yes. And he was like, I'm down. Winky face. Okay. And at this point of time when we're texting on the phone, he was like trying to get off. When we're on the phone, he was trying to get off the phone with me. He was like, oh, I have to go help my brother do this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, are you sure? Like, you don't want to talk for a little bit longer, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, no, I'll call you back. I was like, okay. So I said bye, good night, like any normal day. Okay.
My husband just had a baby with my little sister. Even saying those words feels surreal, like out of a twisted soap opera, but this is my life now, and it's a nightmare I wouldn't wish on anyone. Let me take you back to how it all started. At the time of this betrayal happened, I was pregnant. We were expecting our first child, and I was over the moon about it. And that time, my family had planned one of our regular vacations to Florida. It's a tradition we've done for years, and usually I wouldn't miss it for the world. But this time, being so far along in my pregnancy and not feeling great, I decided to stay home and rest. My husband went along with my family as usual, including my younger sister. Fast forward a couple of months, and my sister made a surprising announcement. She was pregnant. The whole family celebrated, excited for her new journey into motherhood. When she was asked about the father, she just brushed it off, saying it was a colleague who didn't want to be involved. That explanation seemed plausible at the time, so no one pressed her further. In hindsight, there were signs, things I didn't pick up on until everything unraveled. My husband, for one, seemed oddly interested in my sister's pregnancy. He would ask her all kinds of questions, how she was feeling, how the baby was doing, whether she needed anything. I noticed it, but I dismissed it as him being unusually thoughtful. Maybe he was just being kind and supportive, or so I thought. Then came the birth of her baby. Everyone was thrilled to welcome the newest member of the family, but my husband's interest in this baby stood out. He doted on my sister's child in a way that seemed different from how he interacted with our nieces and nephews. Again, I brushed it off. Maybe he was just being caring, or I thought I was imagining things, but it wasn't until this week that everything fell apart. I was going through our credit card bill when I noticed a charge to a medical clinic. Curious, I called the clinic to ask them about it, and the receptionist said it was for a circumcision. That stopped me in my tracks. We'd recently had our baby, a girl, so clearly this charge wasn't for us. At the time, I thought it might be fraud, so I blocked the card and chalked it up to some random mix-up, but something nagged me later. Later, I called my sister to check in. During our conversation, she actually mentioned that her baby had just gotten a circumcision because it wasn't done at the hospital. My stomach dropped. Suddenly, that charge didn't seem like a mistake anymore. When I confronted her about the coincidence, she just brushed me off, calling me crazy and saying it was just that, a coincidence. But the pieces were starting to fall into place. After that call with my sister, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling. Something about the whole situation felt off, like the missing pieces of a puzzle were just out of reach. So I called my husband. I asked him point blank about the charge and whether he had...
Donc aujourd'hui, j'avais envie de vous raconter une petite story time qui m'a confirmé encore que men are trash, sauf exception, mais c'est ça. Donc, dans le fond, il y a cela un moment, il y a un gars qui a commencé à me parler sur Instagram, puis c'est un gars avec quand même pas mal d'abonnés. Je pourrais l'exposer, mais je vais me garder une petite gêne. Et on s'entendait vraiment bien. Et là, après une semaine de se parler littéralement chaque jour, il m'a demandé si je voulais venir chez lui parce que c'était littéralement genre mon voisin. Pour vrai, c'était cave. Alors là, je suis allée. On a passé une super belle soirée, ça s'est full bien passé. Et là, le lendemain, on est en train de déjeuner. Puis là, je vois, il rit comme en regardant son sel. Fait que là, je suis comme, ah, tu sais, à qui tu parles? Puis il est comme, ah, personne, je parle à mon boss. Mais comme je vois que c'est le nom d'une fille. Fait que je suis pas épaisse. Puis il travaille dans la construction, là, le chum, là. Fait que comme, ça m'étonnerait bien gros que ça soit son boss. Mais je suis comme, ok, on va lui laisser le bénéfice du doute. Donc, je retourne chez moi. Et là, le lendemain, il me réécrit, puis il est comme, ah, tu veux-tu venir chez moi ce soir? Fait que là, je suis comme, ok, parfait. Donc, on y va, on se fait à manger ensemble, on se fait une lasagne. Et là, on allume Netflix. Et je vois que le nom de son boss fait partie des comptes Netflix. Fait que là, écoute, j'aurais dû allumer, mais j'étais genre, ok. Puis, tu sais, c'est littéralement le nom de la fille qui textait la veille. Et là, je sais pas si vous savez, mais tu sais, sur iPhone, quand on prend une photo, on peut comme voir le live de ce qui s'est passé avant et après la prise de photo. Et là, il était assis sur le sofa, puis il regardait comme une vidéo en répétition. Tu sais, j'entendais comme s'il regardait quelque chose, une vidéo. Fait que là, je suis comme, c'est quoi tu regardes? Puis il est comme, ah, c'est une photo que j'ai prise de notre souper. Mais là, moi, je me dis, pourquoi il regarde le live de la photo qu'il a pris de notre souper? Et là, je réalise qu'on m'entend parler dans le live de la photo. Et là, je vois du coin de l'œil qu'il a envoyé la photo à quelqu'un, tu sais, en message texte. Et là, j'ai dit, ah, c'est à qui que t'as envoyé ça? Puis il est comme, ah, personne. Et là, 1 + 1 = 2, je réalise qu'il a envoyé ça à une fille, puis que la fille a clairement entendu ma voix dans le live. Et elle a clairement demandé, genre, who's that bitch? Fait que le gars m'a subtilement dit de m'en aller parce que littéralement, la fille allait probablement débarquer chez eux. Puis il voulait pas que je sois là. Et là, en arrivant chez moi, j'étais allée stalker l'Instagram du gars. J'ai trouvé la fille. J'ai réalisé que ça faisait longtemps qu'ils se fréquentaient. Elle avait des stories chez lui. Puis à ce jour, ils sont en couple. Fait que c'est ça, malaise.
Story time. Another story about me getting cheated on and how I found out. So, it all started with me wanting a GoPro. I really wanted a GoPro because I travel a lot and I really wanted something to capture all my adventures. And that's literally the only thing I wanted from my partner. So he promised to get it for me. And at the time we were building a house, and a couple of days before my birthday, or I think it was the day before, he goes to me, oh, I'm so sorry, but I can't afford to buy your GoPro, your birthday present. And I said, you know what, that's fine. You know, probably he needs some money for something for the house, or he needs to pay bills, you know. I didn't think much of it after that. But fast forward a few months, I needed to do some uni work on his laptop. And when I opened his laptop, all of his iMessages were popping up. You know when you haven't used your laptop for a while and you keep getting all the messages? So I opened it, curious, and I scroll all the way down. And there is a number with no text on there. No text thread. It's not a number saved. It's just a number with all the text gone. So I copy and paste the number into Google. And what comes up? It says, hot Latina, big peach, spicy accountant. Let's call it a spicy accountant. And I thought it was a mistake. I thought there's no way that this is accurate. So I copy and paste the number in. He had a Mac. I copy and pasted her number, or the number, into his Finder. And I searched the number in like all of his laptop, and his archives came up. of his iMessages, and all the texts that he had deleted were there, obviously. And it said a message from him to her, hey, just got your number from da-da-da-da, and was wondering if you're available on da-da-da-da, and what do you charge? What are your fees? I was getting a little bit sus, like she doesn't sound like a personal trainer. So I continued to read the messages, and it was over many, many months while we were in the relationship, and he kept asking for appointments. And the last one that he had sent her was the 29th of November. My birthday is on the 30th of November. And
9 months into our relationship, I found out that my boyfriend had been DMing another girl on Instagram. When I confronted him, Sam told me it was an impulsive, one-time thing. He had acted out of impulse because he was worried he was going to wake up one day, aged 40, with 3 kids and a house, and he would have missed out on his 20s and being young.
Men are so weird.
I was so hurt by this. Then it got worse. I learned that it wasn't a one-off thing at all. He'd been messaging other girls for months, sometimes late at night when I was asleep next to him. I spoke to my psych about it, who said that it was really shit and my feelings were valid. However, men will go through an identity crisis in their early to mid-20s, and they will question what they want out of life. And if they don't deal with it in a healthy way, they will do stupid things like this.
Wait, is that her? The psych
that's-
kind of defending the guy?
That is a quote from the psych.
The psych is literally saying, oh, boys will be boys, so just stay with your partner with a wandering eye.
When I also spoke to my mum, she agreed and said that overall he treats me really well and that this is the first time anything like this has happened, and people do make mistakes. We're all human and I should listen to my gut. So I did. We stayed together. Which brings me to Anzac Day. When I saw a message request on his Instagram pop up, when I opened the message and saw it started with, hey girl, I just wanted to reach out, I felt sick. The girl was 29, a nurse and a brunette. Mind you, I'm 24 in marketing and a blonde. In August, they went on a date to get pizza and they went for a drive. They then proceeded to text on and off for almost a year. I allowed Sam to explain. He said that it just happened and it didn't feel real. He said that messaging Ray happened on nights when he was drunk and it felt the same way porn does. He said when he saw her, he didn't like it, and despite her asking to see him again, he didn't want to because it started to feel real. I took some time to cry my eyes out, and then he wanted to talk further. To cut a long story short, he cheated on me physically, it turns out. He told me that one night after work they met up and she briefly engaged in fellatio in his car. I've sat in this car in the same spot where the fellatio took place for months afterwards. That made me physically ill. I haven't been in his car since, and I can hardly look at it. Nudes had been exchanged and both of them say they didn't sleep with each other. He still tells me he doesn't know why he did it, and that's the part I'm struggling with the most. While Sam's always said he doesn't want kids, but I very much do, after I found out everything, he told me he's ready to move in together and have kids.
No, he's not.
From things that Sam has said, it kind of sounds like Ray only told me because she was mad that he didn't want to see her anymore, and that apparently she didn't care if he had a girlfriend. I know I shouldn't be mad at her, but part of me is. In my mind, if I was her, red flags would have been going up months ago. Why was he only messaging and seeing you late at night? Why didn't he want to have sex? Why didn't he want to add you on Facebook where I've tagged him in things recently? Why had he purposely only seen you once? It may not be right to be mad at her, but honestly, it makes me feel better.
Guys, so apparently everyone in the whole entire universe, except for me, knew that NRL players were literally just the worst people in the whole entire world. I always thought the saying that like NRL players are cheaters and whatever was like a big presumption that people made. Mostly because I don't know anything about footy. I've never been involved in it. I know like 2 players from the Broncos. But the Magic Round weekend just gone has proven me very wrong. I have a bit of a story time for you guys. I feel like it's probably nothing and this probably happens to so many people, but you guys know everything about my life, so I just need to tell you. A few days ago, I met some of the players at my gym that I go to. They were doing some recovery and me and my friend were as well. I had no idea that all the footy players were going to be there. Otherwise, I literally wouldn't have gone because it was fucking packed. But anyway, we met some of them in the recovery room. We were having a chat. I literally didn't know who they were. Like, they came into the room and they were like, are you guys from Brisbane? I said, yeah. I was like, oh, you here to watch the game? And they were like, no, we're playing. I was like, who are you? Anyway, we were just having a nice little chat while we were doing the little leg bag recovery things. I don't know what they're called. But they were asking us where to go Saturday night, because obviously we were from Brisbane and they weren't. And we were like giving them little suggestions on where to go and whatever. And then at the very end, the one that didn't talk to us like at all came up to me and was like, hey, can I have your Instagram? Like, I'll message you about where we're going. So I gave him my Instagram because I thought he was hot. And the one that was talking to us the whole entire time literally followed me and my friend on Instagram and then unfollowed us straight away. I won't name names because that's embarrassing. But anyway, I was hanging out with my big group of friends this weekend who flew up from Perth for Magic Round weekend. And I told them about this little run-in that I had at the gym. And they were all like fangirling because they knew these players, but I didn't. So I was just like, whatever. But I thought this one guy who gave me his Instagram was hot. So I was like looking through his profile, making sure he didn't have a girlfriend. He literally had like 4 photos, but none of them were with a girl, and he didn't have anything in his bio, so I just assumed that he was single, which apparently you can't do these days. But anyway, I messaged him and I just said good luck with your game. And then we're just talking back and forth after his game about where we were both going for the night. And then my group eventually went to Mr. where he was at. And oh my God, if you were out in Brisbane on Saturday night, what the fuck was that? It was literally like a stampede. Everyone and their dog was out. But anyway, we got to them. I saw him and then he invited me up to the booth where all the players were. So we're just talking and dancing, getting drinks as you do. He introduced me to a few of his teammates who, again, I didn't know. So I was like, cool, nice to meet you. And then this girl came up to him so fucking random and was like, is this your partner? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, no. And all of his friends were like egging me on and egging him on, which again, I only know now that is like a thing that footy players do because apparently everyone cheats on everyone. But I didn't know then, so I just assumed that he was single. I ended up going back to his place and it was actually so funny because the boys...
Okay guys, so if you're seeing this video, you have seen the story time. We are now going to go around my house and see what everyone else thinks. So Jodie, where were you when you found out about this scandal?
See, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a nice peaceful morning, just sat on the couch, just living my life as I normally do, watching the telly, and next thing you know, thunder.
Oh God, I'll never forget it. It was horrific. I was actually in bed. I'll never forget the screams and the roars. It was just heart-rending.
Well, I was in bed and I woke up to what can only be described as a horror movie, really.
I came down the stairs for work, came across my mum and my sister at the table, which wasn't something that would usually happen at 8 o'clock in the morning. I walked towards the two of them and Casey broke the news to me, something that I never, ever thought I'd ever hear.
I still can't even talk about it to this day.
Well, I went across the hallway into the landing.
It just pains me. I really did feel for you that day. Oh, the cries, the roars, the screams. It just wasn't right. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
This is something that I never wanted to discuss from the time it happened, and I don't think I'm going to discuss it now, thanks.
Grand, no worries.
I found my sister in a state I can't even imagine. She was in bits, she was crying, she was roaring, I've never seen her like that before.
I wasn't around at all. I was just at home. And I got this, my spidey senses started to tingle.
I actually felt I lost a fourth son that day.
And my heart. I'm sorry, can we go to the cameras for a minute?
I texted and I said, Casey, I just need to take a break. Can you just turn off the camera for a minute? I texted Casey, and I just said, hey, did the rodent happen to cheat on you on a random night out in Flannery's in Dublin? And Casey replied, yeah, he did.
Was this something you ever expected?
No. He's like a brother to me. I would have never thought he was going to do this to our family and to Casey.
Honestly, absolutely. Remember that time we met the rodent? For the first time I met the rodent, you were out on a walk, I was walking with my granny. You know what he did? You know, you remember.
I know what he did.
He got my granny by the hair and just kneed her in the face. Bang, bang, bang.
I have to say, in my life, and I'm a good judge of character, I have never been so gutted and disappointed in anybody, ever in my entire life.
And what was the aftermath like? It was comparable to a family member dying. The house was honestly at a standstill for 10 days onwards. Casey couldn't be left alone for any period of time. She had to be showered, she had to go to the bathroom with the door open, she had to be basically fed all of her meals.
I said to Casey, please. I said, Casey, please, just don't do this to yourself. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve a man. And, you know, you went with a man, he cheated on you, so yeah.
And now I'm sitting here bawling and crying because he kneed her granny in the face.
Granny did not deserve this, right?
Story time on when I went on a date with a married man and didn't find out he was married until the next day. This guy matched with me on an app. We were talking for like 2 days. He planned a whole date. He picked me up for the date. Like, he came to get me at my apartment complex. Nothing in his car said wife. Like, he didn't have any inkling or anything. Like, I didn't have any reason to think that this man had a wife, okay? We get to the date and he like warns me beforehand. He's like, oh, hey, sorry, my daughter's texting me. She's just having some issues with the car or whatever. And I'm like, okay, super believable, because I text my dad whenever I have issues with the car. We're on the date, and this was like a 3-part date. Like, this wasn't like a quick like dinner. This wasn't like in a secluded like, no. We're like bouncing place to place. And like, if you live in Vegas, like, it's not that big of a city. So this guy literally takes me to a restaurant that he apparently goes to all the time, because the whole staff like knew him. He was like greeted at the door. They dabbed him up and everything. He takes me to the bar. We sit, we have drinks at the bar. Everything's fine. It's actually like one of the better dates that I had been on. And we go through dinner. He got up twice to take phone calls. The first time he told me it was his daughter with the car problem, and I was like, okay, fair enough, not a problem. The second time he said that it was like, oh, a business partner that had to call him about something. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. This is where the red flags kicked in. He goes, hey, I'm so sorry. I have to go get my daughter. She called me and said that she's stuck at her friend's house. Gave me this whole story. I was like, okay. And he goes, but obviously I'm not going to leave you stranded. I'm going to Uber you home. And I was like, okay. And I told him, I'm like, hey, like, the only thing is, like, I only take Uber Blacks. Like, I like that there's like extra vetting there. Like, I really do not take regular Ubers. I only take Uber Blacks. I told him before we even went on this date. I was like, hey, if you're going to send me an Uber, I only take Uber Black. Like, I said that. He goes, orders me the Uber Black. When I get in the car, the name that the Uber says is different from the name that this guy told me that his name was. And I was like, weird. The other thing that I noticed when I got home is that my text bubbles were green, but he had an iPhone in his hand. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, that makes no sense. And then like, I just started like piecing everything together, and I was like, no, like, he has to be married. What 17-year-old girl is like texting and calling her dad all night? None. Literally none. What reasoning would you have to have green bubbles if you have an iPhone, unless you're using a texting app? And then the whole Uber thing, I'm like, who the fuck did this guy just say you were? Because that's not the name that's on the app, and that's not the name that I've been calling you all night. Like, what the fuck? So then there's 2 things that I did. The first thing is that I posted him on the T app, which, girls, if you don't have this app, you need it. 1, it's just like super entertaining, and 2, it does actually help you like catch things before you have to deal with this person. So like, if you post this guy and be like, hey, I'm about to go on a date with him, hey, I'm dating him, like, is anybody else dating him? It's basically like an app for, are we dating the same guy? When I posted him, I got responses immediately. I've worked with him. The last time I checked, the guy had a wife, and like, I got all of this tea. So the next day, he's blowing me up. Like, literally, like, he's texting me, like, and when I'm not responding to him, he's like sending more. He sent 5. So at the 5th text, I just texted him and I said, hey, I have a question. He's like, hey, what's up? Oh my gosh, like, I was wondering what was going on with you. I'm like, are you married? And the guy literally says, technically, yes. What do you mean technically? What do you mean technically? I'm sure he was typing, but I just like blocked him immediately. And like when I went on the T app, I was like, yo, if somebody finds his wife, like I'll send screenshots. This man literally took me on a whole date and planned 2 more. The audacity.
Get ready with me as I tell you my craziest dating story in Dubai. I think it's gonna be kind of long, so honestly get some snacks and buckle in. I was dating this guy in Dubai who I really, really liked. Immediately we clicked and immediately I saw full long-term potential. We would be consistently talking on the phone, very openly and honestly. Our communication was really great. It was the start of a really healthy relationship. And even though I liked him so much and everything was going so well, deep down inside me, deep down, I knew he wasn't my soulmate. But because things were going so well, I had the thought in my mind, I don't know what's gonna break us up. Like, everything's going so well. I don't really know what it's gonna be. And then one day we're just chit-chatting on the phone and he starts talking to me about his coworkers. And in order for me to visualize them better, he sends me a group photo of like him and all of his coworkers. My first initial thought when I see this photo popped up onto my screen is, I've seen this photo before. And as I start looking closer at the photo, I see a guy that I used to date. And of course, the person that he wants to talk about in this photo is obviously the guy that I used to date. And he starts telling me a story about him. And I say, wait, hold up, before you finish the story, I have to tell you something. And I tell him exactly what had happened. Me and him started dating when I first moved to Dubai. It was nothing serious. We went out maybe a handful of times and it was a mutual ghost, I'm pretty sure. And the words that came out of his mouth was words that I never ever expected. He tells me, Sophia, you know that he's married, right? And I'm like, you mean like he just got married? Like a few months ago? No, he's been married for a really long time and has 2 kids who live back in his home country. The way my heart dropped, oh my fucking god. You might be thinking that this is the crazy part in the story. It's not. He asked me, how did you not know that he was married? And I was like, dude, I would have never guessed in a million years. And I asked him, well, how close are you guys? Like, is this awkward to know that I dated him? He also asked me like how far we went in our dating, and I was very honest with him. We went far. I have to set the scene. When I first came to Dubai, I wasn't looking for like my one true love. I was mostly dating to get to know the lay of the land, like see how people operate here and like just for funsies. And they used to be coworkers. They weren't anymore, but one time when this guy, the one that I was currently dating at the time, picked me up for a date, they were still on the phone. And I was in the car and they were on the phone. So they're not close, but close enough. And he also kind of made me feel bad. He was like, why did you date him? He is so opposite of me. And in my mind, what I really wanted to say was, well, why are you friends with a cheater? And after that moment, things got like a little bit awkward, but we talked about it. He was like, is this gonna be awkward? Like, can we get over this? And I'm like, why are you asking me? This is something that you kind of have to get over because like it affects you more than it affects me. I don't have anything to do with that guy anymore. And then he sent me like photos of them together from back in the day, and it was like really weird. And he told me, he was like, you know, I know a lot of people in this industry. Who else did you date in Dubai? Just so that this doesn't happen again. Which is a valid question, I'm not gonna lie. And then I listed off all of the guys that I dated in Dubai. There were not that many. And he told me, he's like, okay, I don't know anybody else. And I'm like, okay, great. And I was like, is this gonna be a problem? Like, is this something that we stop dating over? Because he was very uncomfortable by it. I was also kind of uncomfortable because he was so uncomfortable. And he's like, listen, this is so outside of my control and your control. Like, this happened a year and a half ago. It would be stupid for me to break up with you because of this. Like, you did nothing wrong and I can't be mad, which I really, really appreciated, because if roles were reversed, I would have dumped him immediately. Like, I personally think that's just so icky. A few days go by, we've talked about it more in depth, we're kind of over it, And he goes to hang out with his friends and I go to hang out with my friends one night, and then at the end of the night he was supposed to pick me up and we were supposed to meet. This is a few days later. So I'm sitting with my friends, I'm actually telling them this story, and me and the guy that I'm dating are texting, and he sends me a group photo of him and his friends all at a restaurant. Oh my god, my heart's beating out of my chest!
And then I discovered that he was married for 2 years whilst we were together. I don't know about you guys, but I hate liars and I hate cheaters. So let's expose a liar and a cheater. If you guys have been here for the past year or so, I never really confirmed it, but I was dating a guy. Very much in love with him, very much thought that I was going to marry him, thought that I was going to have kids with him, but there was always something niggling in the back of my head that something isn't right with this situation. He would lie a lot, make excuses to come see me, especially towards the end as well of the relationship, but nonetheless I carried on. I think it was just due to pressure about getting married, my age and things like that, but yeah, so we're just gonna expose him. So this man is from West Brom. His name is Jaspal Desi. He wears a vodka. He is 6'3". He drives a black BMW. Don't ask me the make. Don't ask me the whatever it is, what model, what series it is. No idea. Black BMW is all I saw. It's quite a big car. And he is a cameraman and a videographer for weddings, parties, things like that. So the only reason I'm putting this video out there is so that people aren't duped like I was, because I fully 100% thought that I would marry this man and have kids with him and spend the rest of my life with him, but that isn't the case. He is married and he has been for 2 years, as I discovered. And the only reason I discovered this is because of that Facebook site that I'm on. Are we dating the same guy? And I put his photo up on there the day before yesterday, and yeah, and then I got my answers, and his neighbour commented on that post saying that he's married and he has been for 2 years, so it's time to expose him. So if you have dated a Jaspal Desi from West Brom and he's 6'3" and wears a vodka, then he's married. And these types of people, these men, are disgusting in my eyes. I mean, if you are married and you're unhappy in your marriage, then leave. It doesn't matter about like what people will say or anything like that. Your happiness is the most important thing. So yeah, this is just exposure. I mean, I feel like a complete and utter idiot for falling for this, but if it helps one girl to kind of have their wits about them, and you know, if he is doing this to other girls as well and I'm not the only one, then you know, just be warned. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I know I'm gonna get some horrible comments saying, oh, all what you talk about is men and whatever. I don't care. Yeah, it is what it is. I was duped. This happens, and it happens a lot more than people let on. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've caught a couple people in my family, not me personally, but I know that a couple people in my family that have seen other people in my family on dating apps. So yeah, it's just, these dating apps are just a way, and then it's very easy to lie on these apps. Obviously I didn't meet Jaspal on this app, I met him on this platform. He messaged me on this platform, and yeah, that's where we met, and that's how we communicated. throughout like the very early stages of our relationship before I gave him my number, because I'm very funny about giving that out to people. But yeah, that is literally what I wanted to say, and I look forward to the backlash of this video. But yeah, I love you guys. Thanks.
I'm going to tell you the story of how I found out the guy I was seeing for over a year had a pregnant wife. I recently posted a video about it, and I had so many comments asking me for a story time of how I actually found out, and that's what this video is. So, firstly, there was definitely signs along the way that I just didn't realize. They seemed like innocent little comments until now I know what I know and I see them differently. So we met at the start of last year, around January or February, when I moved up here for work, and we've known each other for a little over a year now, probably like 1 year, 1 month. And so, for example, we train together. He knows that I make TikToks. He follows me on TikTok. He's going to be watching this video, by the way, guys. So I need to be careful with what I say. Yeah, so we're training together. I film my TikToks. I'm like telling him like, oh, I'm thinking of filming my set for TikTok, and he's like something along the lines of, oh, just make sure you don't get me in it. And I didn't think anything of it, of course, because sometimes people don't want to be online. They like privacy. Completely fine, not a big deal, no worries. I won't film. Didn't think anything of it ever again. Even like the videos of me at the gym, if I'm like talking to a guy or whatever in the gym, I've had their consent to put that on TikTok. I haven't just like randomly spoken to people or mentioned people or filmed people without them knowing, unless they're like really far in the background, okay? So the fact that he didn't want to be in the video, I didn't think anything of it. So basically I found out 2 days ago now. The way that I found out is he told me. I didn't find out on my own doing. He told me. We talk every day, texting on the phone. We're just having like a regular conversation, and he was going somewhere. I'm not going to mention details because the idea of me posting this is not to blast him on the internet, because the internet is a nasty place. There's so many people that leave such nasty things and bully people, and I've dealt with it firsthand making this TikTok when I don't even really say like stuff that's that mean and worthy of being bullied over. But that's not the idea. I'm not going to be outing him. I'm not going to be blasting him on the internet. So if that's what you're looking for, it's not going to happen. Okay. So he mentioned in conversation, very casually, very randomly, I didn't bring it up, he just mentioned it. He said he's going to this place and his wife and kids are coming, which is his wife and kid are coming, which is annoying because he wanted to go by himself. And he's actually made jokes in the past about having a wife, in the sense of like, oh, I have to go now, I got to go home to my wife, haha. And so he's fucked around with me before and made jokes about it before. So when he was like mentioned that in conversation, I'm like, haha. He's like what's funny? And I was like, I don't know if you're being serious or if you're joking around. And he's like, I'm being serious. And I still thought for a while that he was just joking around, like trying to get a laugh by like tricking me. And so after a while, I'm like, okay, then prove it. And he was like, I will FaceTime you. I will show you and I will prove it to you. And I was like, okay, so he's not joking. This time he is being serious. And that is how I found out. He just randomly mentioned it in a conversation after we've been talking for over a year. And I'm not going to lie and say I haven't tried to find her, okay? I definitely have. But the really tricky thing is the name that he gave me is not his legal name. Therefore, it makes things incredibly difficult. But that's kind of how I found out. I literally didn't go searching. There was no warning signs. Like I wasn't like, oh, I'm sus of this man, I want to stalk him and find it out. He literally just told me in the middle of a conversation randomly. I was at work at the time and I was talking to my manager and I was like, I am mind blown and I am shaking right now. I was so anxious for some reason. I just felt so anxious and so nervous when I found out, and I was talking to my manager about it. But yeah, that's the story. If you guys have any other questions, leave them down below and I will answer them.
But yeah, honestly, he just told me. He just told me. If you can't tell by how I look, I am not only physically exhausted, but I am mentally exhausted. I have had so much personal shit going on the last few weeks, and this was just like the top of the cake, like tip of the iceberg, whatever the fucking saying is. It just has sent me over the edge. It has sent me over the edge. Whew. But that's okay, because I'm going to gym tomorrow and I'm finished work for the week, so we'll be okay. But yeah, that's it. That's how I found out. He told me. He's watching this video, so everything I say, he knows I've said. But yeah.
Hey guys, get ready with me for a grad party while I talk about how my ex-boyfriend cheated on me with my friend. I really don't think I need this, but I'm gonna use it anyway. Also, I found a $100 gift card, Lululemon gift card yesterday, and it was like 2 years old, so I bought this cute. Anyways, so I dated him for 2 years, let me tell you. 2 years. He would come over to my house every day for the first like 6 months. We were like best friends until he asked me to be his girlfriend. And let me also say that literally everybody thought we were gonna like get married. So basically January of this year, we had a talent show at our school. There were like a class that all like the seniors and some juniors do. So both of us did the talent show, and we actually worked together on sound. But for some reason, I got excluded of the group that was created. So they would start to hang out, all of them without me. Mind you, I've been friends with all of them longer than he has, and a bunch of them were girls. So it's like him and his like 4 like guy friends, and like all these girls. And the girls I was friends with for way longer. Like one of them I was friends with for like 10 years. And I still didn't get invited. So, and when I asked him to come, he'd be like, well, it's not my house, so I can't like make that decision. And then I'd be like, okay, whatever. And so then when it was at his house, he wouldn't invite me, but he was like, you're always welcome. And he wouldn't tell me when they're coming to his house. So I never, like, I wasn't gonna check his location and be like, oh, like, invite me. So then in February, we went on a trip together, and like he was acting weird like before the trip, and then the trip like gave me like reassurance. I was like, oh, like, you know, with his whole family, like we're good, all this stuff. And during the trip, this girl kept snapping him. Well, she was snapping him anyways, but this girl that I was like friends with, snapping him, and like I didn't even know he added her because he would always tell me when he added somebody, just for some reason, and didn't tell me. And she's like snapping him with this. So this continued for a while, and then I think in like March I said something. I was like, I don't feel comfortable with the way that my friend is snapping you. And like then I would go to their hangouts like once in a great while when I would actually get invited, and the way she would look at him just really threw me off. It was like the eyes, you know? The eyes never lie. So I told him that she made me uncomfortable, and he told the whole group of like 8 of them, and they obviously told her, and she was like, well, Olivia thinks I'm a threat to the relationship. I was like, okay, girl, well, maybe because the way you're acting. So then in March, I went on a little vacation, and my best friend goes to the gym and sees him at the gym with not the girl that was snapping him weird, but a different girl who I've been friends with for 10 years in the same group. And I always told him, if you ever go to the gym with a girl alone, that's cheating, in my opinion. And I think that's reasonable, because why would you want to be working out with another girl who's not me? And I work out with him all the time. So I texted him, because I looked at his location, and I saw my friend's location at the gym too. And I was like, are you at the gym? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, who are you with? And he was like, myself. And I was like, whoa. And I think also I saw like their locations before my friend told me, like, go in the car. Like, she went to his house, picked him up, go in the car. Forgot to mention that. I was like, oh, that's funny, because my best friend just texted me saying that you're at the gym with this girl. And he was like, oh yeah, like I just saw her here, and so now we're like working out together. what? Like, why are we lying? So then he's like, you better not be mad at me because you've already gotten mad at me so many times for the other girl this week. And he's like, and you're so controlling and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. So I played it cool. I was like, oh, like, I'm not mad at you, but you said it was cheating if, like, you know, like, we set those boundaries. And he's like, well, I'm just not going to talk about this right now. And I was like, okay, fine. So then when I got back, of course, he was like, we need to talk. And then he, like, freaked out saying I'm so controlling and all this stuff and how, like, I'm going to be controlling in college. Basically, he tried to break up with me. And I was, like, obviously really upset. And then, like, a couple days later, like, we were still talking, like, normal. And then a couple days later, he's, like, had a conversation with his family. And he's like, well, I'm not going to break up with you. Like, I want to be with you, all this stuff. He's like, but you can't be controlling. And I was like, okay. Which... for the record, we were never the couple to be like, oh, we're gonna take a break, oh, we're gonna break up. So this was weird. This was really weird because this was the first time in, like, our whole relationship. So fast forward, after that happened, we were fine for a little bit. We were chilling, went to prom together, you know. But during that whole thing, like, I'm gonna say in May, and we broke up in May. Maybe it was April, I don't know. So I made him unadd this girl because she kept, the first girl, original one, you know, because she kept snapping him, like, really weird. And I was like, that makes me uncomfortable. Like, if you could just unadd her, that'd be great because I don't like the way she's snapping you. Like, genuinely, like, weird. Trust. So I unadded her and he got real mad, all this stuff. And I was like, okay, like, why are you mad? You have to unadd a girl. Like, I would unadd any guy. Then I think this was actually in, like, March or maybe even February because Senior Assassin started in March, so this was definitely, like, before April or May. He added her back for Senior Assassin, and I was like, okay, weird, because he didn't even have her or anything. Yeah. So last little part before I'm gonna have to make a part 2, but basically we were laying in bed one day and she snapped him really weirdly, so I told him to leave her on open. And he was like, okay. So I turned, and we were laying in his bed, so I turn over, and I'm like, I'm gonna take a nap. Puts his phone down. I hear him pick his phone up while I'm laying there, still awake. And he picks up his phone for, like, 2 seconds, turns it off, puts it down. And I just had a weird feeling. So I, like, turn over, and I'm like, could I see your phone? Like, could you go to Snapchat? And he's like, why? And I'm like, could you just, like, you know? And he's like, okay. So he goes to Snapchat, and I see it says her name delivered just now. And I look at him, and I'm like, did I not just tell you to leave her on open? Was it that hard that you said yes, and then you proceeded to pick up the phone when I was rolled over? I kid you not. He goes, I never did that. I never did that. I don't know why you don't believe me. I never did that. I asked him, I was like, is it a ghost? Because he was like, it probably glitched. Like, what? So I'm done with my makeup, so I'm gonna have to make a part 2, so stay tuned because there's a lot more. Thanks for watching.